The drive into my hometown felt nostalgic. The familiar streets, the laughter echoing as I pulled into my sister's driveway, everything felt like home. Our entire family had come together after years apart, parents who hadn't seen each other since the last holidays, cousins who'd grown up and changed, children running around, stories from the past filling every corner. I greeted my sister with a hug, met her husband, my brother-in-law, with a handshake that felt warm, and the rest of the family gathered around the patio under string lights. The food smelled amazing, the kids played tag, the elders swapped old jokes. I felt safe, comfortable, and excited to reconnect. Little did I know, this idyllic reunion would come at a cost I couldn't yet imagine. We toasted to togetherness, to memories, to future plans, and I pledged to enjoy every moment, oblivious to the storm that was quietly brewing. As the evening progressed, the energy soared. Music played softly in the background, the grill sizzled, glasses clinked. My brother-in-law offered to handle a lot, the barbecue, the drinks, the decorations. I thanked him, assuming he was just being generous. He laughed, saying it's my honor. The kids ran wild, the adults reminisced about childhood adventures, the cousins teased each other, and I relaxed into the moment. Everything felt perfect. But somewhere amid the laughter and ease, subtle red flags went unnoticed. My brother-in-law nudged me to contribute to a group gift for the parents, hinting that everyone chips in. I shrugged, pulled out my card, and sent the amount. It felt fine at the time, like a small gesture in a sea of shared joy. I didn't question it. I assumed trust. Little did I realize, that one action would be a small piece in a much larger puzzle. The next morning, I pulled out my phone, and the heart-sinking moment hit. I opened my banking app to check my balance, plan my month, and there it was, an unfamiliar series of withdrawals, transfers I didn't recognize, amounts that totaled far more than I expected. My stomach dropped. My heart raced. How could this be? I thumbed through the list, one transaction labeled family gathering, another gift pooling, and then one simply unexpected charge. I realized the funds I thought were safely in my account were gone, spent, diverted, vanished. Panic surged. I scrolled to the oldest entries and found one that matched the timing of that group gift request. My blood turned cold. Had I been part of something I didn't fully understand? And worse, did someone exploit me? Fear, anger, confusion took hold as I stared at the drained digits. My sister's husband, the man I trusted, suddenly looked different in my mind. I found my sister quietly putting dishes away in the kitchen, and I approached her with trembling voice. "Hey, did you see these withdrawals from my account? There are transfers I didn't authorize." Her eyes flickered. She said, "What do you mean?" I showed her the screen. She frowned, calling in her husband. He stepped in front, forced a laugh, and said it must be a bank error. "We needed it," he said, with a snort as if I were overreacting. "It's family," he asserted. "We're all helping each other." I stared at him in disbelief. Family helping each other didn't drain someone's bank account without their knowledge. My sister looked away. I asked for explanation, and he deflected, claiming the gathering cost more than anticipated, that he'd covered extras and it all worked out. But worked out for who? I had no receipt, no breakdown. He waved it off. My trust cracked. I realized I was being gaslit, made to feel grateful when I should be outraged. As I left the house that afternoon, I replayed everything, the cheerful reunion, the effortless generosity, his "we needed it" remark. I walked through the neighborhood, the sun warm but my mood cold. I recognized a painful truth: this wasn't a simple misunderstanding. It was betrayal. I felt naive. I had assumed that love and family meant honesty and boundaries, but I was wrong. The person who should protect my trust became the one who broke it. The agony of betrayal isn't loud, it's quiet, insidious. You keep talking to yourself, it couldn't be them. They wouldn't. But the evidence stacks: unauthorized withdrawals, a dismissive remark, a refusal to account. I realized this was their help, their way of extracting from me, hiding behind the banner of togetherness. And I knew I couldn't stay silent. Not if I was going to preserve my self-worth. That night, I sat at my desk, laptop open, bank statements shimmering on screen. I scribbled notes, dates, amounts, descriptor names, names of those present at the gathering. I composed an email to my bank and scheduled a call for the morning. I also drafted a message to my sister, stating calmly that I needed clarification and an accounting of what was done with my funds. My mind raced. What if I lost the family? What if I made it worse? But I concluded, I'd rather risk discomfort than suffer in silence. Trust was gone, restoration required truth. So I exercised power I still had, knowledge and action. I set up automatic alerts on my account. I changed account access. I prepared financial documentation. I prepared the conversation with my in-law, not confrontation for anger's sake, but for clarity. I knew I needed boundaries. This was no longer just about money, it was about respect, consent, and family integrity. The next day I spoke with the bank. The representative walked me through each transaction, matched them to merchants, some labeled clearly family event, group payment, others ambiguous. I requested reversal of the unauthorized charges. The bank said I needed to file a claim, show proof I did not approve them. I downloaded all statements and highlighted each line. I compiled screenshots of messages, timestamps of when the gathering ended versus when the transfers hit my account. It became digital evidence of what felt like shadow transactions. The bank said recovery might take weeks, and might not cover all funds, but the act of filing was non-negotiable. I hung up feeling a mixture of hope and dread. Hope because I was fighting back, dread because the process was complex and emotionally draining. But I felt more empowered than I had in days. The betrayal still stung, but now I was preparing to confront it head-on. I asked to meet him in a neutral space, a cafe downtown where we could talk face-to-face. I arrived early, heart pounding. When he arrived, he was casual, coffee in hand, slight smile. I said, I need to discuss what happened with my account. He sighed, leaned back, said okay. I laid out the facts, the withdrawals, the timing, the phrase we needed it. I asked, what did you mean by that? Who authorized this? Where is the breakdown? He paused, then said, look, I covered extra costs for the reunion, paying for venue, drinks, decor. I assumed you were okay with it. I responded, I never gave permission for those amounts, or to access my account. He shrugged. Family helps each other. I leaned forward, helping means asking, not taking. He shifted uncomfortably. Then, if you're upset, I'm sorry. But no accounting. No receipts. No transparency. I realized this wasn't about fairness, it was about convenience for him and disregard for me. I made it clear, I expect repayment, explanation, and apology. And if none of those come, I will pursue formal action. He left the meeting resolute but thin-skinned. Weeks passed. My bank reversed some charges, others remain. I changed my account, froze the old one. I limited interactions with the family event planning. I wrote a letter to my sister and brother-in-law describing how their behavior shattered trust and asking for restitution. I did not demand vengeance, I demanded accountability. I told myself, love does not mean blind sacrifice. It means mutual respect. My sister avoided the topic. My brother-in-law stopped reaching out. Dinner invitations declined. I felt the loss of connection keenly, but I also felt something else, relief. I was no longer complicit. I redefined my boundaries, no more pooled payments without transparency, no more family as a blanket excuse for financial overreach. I built a budget, set alerts, and told close friends what happened so I could lean on support. The reunion ended, but its lessons changed me. I emerged stronger, cautious but hopeful. If you're watching this, and you've been blindsided by someone you trusted, know this, you're not alone. Family doesn't guarantee safe financial spaces. Moments that feel loving can hide exploitation. But your response matters. Review your accounts. Speak up. Set boundaries. Ask for receipts. Don't accept a shrug disguised as help. Your money, your consent, your dignity, they matter. I forgave my family someday, but I did not forget. I redefined my relationships around honesty and mutual respect. If they're unwilling to meet that standard, I now have the clarity to step back. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it's a warning and a call to action. Because you deserve transparency, fairness, and family that values you, not just your wallet.